Bobby? Water sucks. Gatorade is better.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your Commish with another Gatorade Fantasy Football Podcast update. Are y'all ready? All right, let's go get it. All right, everybody, what's going on? Week 4 is in the books, and I am no longer tilting. TJ, how are you doing over there? You just came fresh off a win, right?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice little win. I thought I was gonna lose, but thankfully Sammy Watkins is Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, he became the Sammy Watkins of old. Unfortunately for him, good for TJ, who was a big Sammy Watkins supporter for a long time. But
yeah, I like Sammy Watkins, but
yeah, he's whatever. Waste of talent. But yeah, this week we changed things up. I am gonna be handling all of the game reviews. TJ will be handling all of the game previews. Hoping this way it would kind of speed up what the podcast is doing. It allows TJ and myself to own separate parts of the podcast and make it our own and stuff like that. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. But as usual, we will have news and injuries and everything. It's instead of just injuries, we're like, oh, this person got hurt. We're also gonna start adding in players who are kind of coming back, and the whole news thing. It's very little the defenses or someone's getting benched, or it's just gonna make it a overall news thing. Yeah, so it's gonna be injuries and news, game reviews, and then TJ will handle game previews. And no power rankings this week. We're doing that every 3 weeks. So after week 6, be ready for that. And let's get on to injuries. For quarterbacks, no injuries this week, except for Fitzmagic is gone. So I think everybody in the Bucs becomes injured because Jameis Winston sucks. That sucks. We have a lot of injuries this week.
yeah, it's gonna be a long injury. We'll try to speed through it, but there's a lot of injuries today. This weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot. For running backs, we have Fournette, hammy once again. Jason Garrett came out and said Ezekiel Elliott has been playing through knee and ankle injuries. Coach Dan Quinn hopes Devontae Freeman will be back for week 5. Marlon Mack, return of the Mack, supposed to be back from his hamstring. So many hamstring injuries. And Le'Veon Bell coming back supposedly week 7 during the bye, which is right before the week 8 trade deadline. So if he does report and signs that tender, then it gives the Steelers about a week to trade him. So we'll see how that works out for Fred. Unless you just want to trade him to me already, Fred. Unless you want to.
For wide receivers, we have T.Y. Hilton, who got injured twice in one game.
That was crazy.
He landed pretty hard in the shoulder. He thought he was going to stay out the whole game, which he probably should have, but he injured his hamstring later on. Looks like he's not playing next week. Goodwin injured his foot on his second game back. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out for, but
I know.
A couple games.
He's a small dude. He's a speedster, so that's going to hurt him.
Dante Pettis he looked like he really got hurt. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out for, but he has an injured foot. Will Fuller has a hamstring. Coach said he could come back during that game, but I think they made the right decision in holding him out a week so he can play the week after.
Yeah.
Geronimo Allison has a concussion. He's week to week.
Oof,
Sammy Watkins, aforementioned Sammy Watkins, has a hamstring injury.
Sammy Hammy.
Hamstring injuries or any soft tissue injuries are pretty. He'll be feeling that pretty much the whole season.
Yeah.
Kelvin Benjamin was demolished
by Clinton Dix. I just saw that play and that was so nasty. He lost his mouthpiece and everything. It was.
Yeah, he was demolished. So he's probably out the rest of the season. No, I'm just kidding. We're not really sure.
Yeah, I mean, your whole thing is like you're supposed to be bigger than everyone. You're supposed to win contested like catches, but you get wrecked by like a 5'11" safety. I don't know. He's always been garbage. But onto tight ends. This was actually, it makes like a shittier position even shittier. Will Disley, torn patella, out for season, and he was coming into his own. The same injury like Jimmy Graham had, and he was a very, very athletic player, but Will Disley is not. Yeah, he's not. So we'll see how that's going to be rough for him to come back from. Tyler Eifert, broken ankle. It was an ugly, ugly play. I saw it. It was not pretty to watch, but he's done. I don't see how he comes back from that. He's going to be gone at least a year. He only had a 1-year contract. I think that's probably the last you've really seen of like Tyler Eifert like contributing seriously.
Yeah, and it sucks too. He was having a good year with Andy Dalton.
He was warming up, I guess. I don't know. He's okay. Can't, availability and health is a skill. He doesn't have that skill. Gronk, speaking of always hurt, Gronk has an ankle injury. It's questionable to return. Like for this week, they're not sure. You know how the Patriots are with their injuries.
They're playing the Thursday night game too, so
might hold off on him. Just have him for the rest of the year. OJ Howard, knee injury. It's a PCL strain. He's out 2 to 4 weeks. I don't know. Yeah, so about a month, which sucks because he was coming into his own. Now, if you have Cameron Brate, you better buy that stock. He's going to do well if he's the only one, and you know how Jameis likes Cameron Brate.
Last injury of note is Earl Thomas. He broke his leg. Unfortunate, especially with all his contract dispute, but he's out for the year.
Yeah.
And he let his emotions be known when he flipped off his teammates.
Was it his teammates or the crowd?
It was his teammates. It was at the bench.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it was at the bench.
Oh, shit. I thought it was at the crowd. And then because, like, Bobby Wagner was, like, supporting him. And I was like, bro, that's you on the bench then. That sucks.
Yeah, it was at the bench. Probably the last game of him being in the Seahawks uniform.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys listen to the Ringer podcast. One of the guys, Robert Mays, he talks about Earl Thomas, and he goes into a little tirade about how angry at the Seahawks he is because Earl Thomas is one of like the best players of the generation, and he's like the heart and soul of that team, and was the leader of that team during the Seahawks like best time period when they won a Super Bowl, and he got to a point where he didn't want to play for you guys anymore, and you couldn't respect him. You couldn't like just grant him his wish, just release him, just let him play somewhere else, like trade him, like do something. Instead, you gain nothing for him, and he loses. Like it's a lose-lose situation for Thomas getting injured, and it's like it's all bad blood now instead of doing something nice for the guy that like gave everything for your team. So that sucks.
Yeah, the Seahawks would probably be 0-4 if it wasn't for Earl Thomas. He makes a huge impact in that team. So I think they're playing the Rams this week too. So I'm sorry, Seahawks, but I think King Godfrey's about to score like 6 touchdowns. He's
gonna Mitchell Trubisky all over them. You got Mitch on your face. That's gonna be nice. But so sorry, Earl. I hope you come back healthy. To the Ravens. And that's it for injuries and news. Hope we didn't skip any. But on to the game reviews. This one. First up, we have Motorboat and Sons of Bitches at Slight Work with a score of 110 to 133. This is a painful one for Fred to lose. He started off very well, but he sputtered toward the end and even suffered a season-ending injury. Thankfully, it is just Eifert, and you probably should have factored that into his draft value. Like when you draft someone like him, he's gonna get injured like 4 games in, just like Jordan Reed. Like him and his floppy toes. Just
I'm surprised he's still.
Yeah, for now. I think I might have said his name too loud. Kirk Cousins started off Fred's week nice with a 35-point game, which like almost doubled his 18-point projection. DeAndre Hopkins had a vintage game with 27 points on his 10 reception, 169 yards and a touchdown game. AJ Green squashed any injury worries with a nice 15-point game. He's not getting a lot of receptions or yardage this year, but he is still scoring all these touchdowns. For Fred, unfortunately, Derrick Henry continues to completely suck balls, and unfortunately it came at the same time that Jordan Howard had a down week. You know, it was surprising since the Bears won 48-10. You would think that they would use him to run more, but I think he had like 10 carries and like Tariq Cohen had 11. I think they realized that Jordan Howard, while he can run like within the tackles, that for that offense, Tariq Cohen is just so much more dynamic and just he's like a discount Tyreek Hill, you know. So we'll see how that moves on with. So you have Tariq Cohen, huh? So
he's set on my bench with 27 points.
That's nice. I like that. And as for Manny, tilt be gone. Oh, it is nice. Getting a nice win helps reset me, so I'm happy with that. Although I now have to deal with another Fournette injury. You know, luckily I think I have the depth to survive it, as my bench scored more points than anyone else's bench. I had like 66 points. Actually, I didn't check after the Monday night games, but
73 points on the bench.
For you?
For you.
Oh, for me. Oh, even better. But I was going to say I had like 66 points or whatever, and I didn't have a QB, which, like, you know, skews it sometimes. But I lost Garoppolo last week, and I gained Fournette, but he went down again. And luckily, like I said, I have the depth for it. My Garoppolo replacement, Carson Wentz, had a nice outing in his second game back, which, you know, he also got Alshon Jeffrey back, who had a nice game, which helps my flex, which is nice. I'm just so happy, guys. I just won. Fred, I beat you so good, bro. You liked it. David Johnson still hasn't broken 20 points yet, but he had another decent 16-point game. He's a running back too for now. It's disappointing, but it's not back-breaking. I had a lot of help from George Kittle and his 82-yard touchdown. He is fast. He's a fast, big white boy. Will Lutz, 15 points. That's my kicker. I don't care. We can get rid of kickers. And thank God, I texted TJ about the benching the Vikings defense Thursday afternoon. He said, yeah, you should do that. And I was lucky I got the Green Bay defense, because that's probably why I won that game.
Yeah, Vikings, man.
Yeah. Sorry, Fred. But on to the next game, we have Vitamin D at Fail Mary with a score of 101.96 to 169.4. There's not much Mikhail could do. Unfortunately, he drops to 1-3, but his team still has the talent to contend. At least he gets the bye week out of the way for his best player, Christian McCaffrey. Although, you know, for someone his size and his volume, a later bye week could be better. But for now, Matthew Stafford, Matty Snapback, dropped 22 on the Cowboys because they don't have Sean Lee. That's easy to do against them. Carry on dropped 12 points. OBJ disappointed with 10. But a bright spot in all this is a continued emergence and usage of Calvin Ridley, who had 19.5 points. It was like 4 receptions for 2 touchdowns, but you can tell that Matt Ryan is really looking his way. Rojo finally played, Ronald Jones. And hopefully he gets up to speed, because he has it's been wasting a roster space so far, like most of the rookie running backs. But they're all coming back. And as most of you know from the group chat, Mikhail was hoping for 274 million points from Tyreek Hill, and he did not get any of those. And for Josh, my goodness, 169 is the highest anyone has ever scored in a 1-week game. I know when we had the 2-week playoffs, I believe people got in the 200s, of course, but I don't remember anybody scoring over 169 in 1 week. I believe
that's
like
insane.
Yeah, right. I think like 150 in the 50s. 150s was the highest we had, maybe 160. But yeah.
And he played OJ Howard with 0 points.
Yeah,
And he still got 169 points.
Yeah, that's
insane.
Awesome. Good for you, Josh. You stay undefeated, and you're the only team to stay undefeated. You started Goff, Woods, and Adam Thielen all on Thursday Night Football. You had
King Goffrey.
yeah, 88-point head start, so it makes sense that you scored as much as you did. And of course, Spice Girl and Gio Bernard helped out with 26 and 24 points respectively. It's a very nice game. Spice Girl is Melvin Gordon, Mel G. You guys are gonna. I'm gonna make it a thing, guys. I'm gonna give it to the fantasy footballers, and I hope they roll with it. For the third game that we are reviewing today, we have Paper Footballs at Love Gun with a score of 107.78 to 82.2. TJ goes to 2-2 with a second win in a row, led by the Ginger Rocket himself, Andy Dalton. And this is actually, I don't know if you knew this, TJ. This is the first time you broke 100 points for the first time.
I know.
You got decent games from both your rookie running backs, Saquon and Sony. What used to be like a weak spot for you, I believe, is now more of a strength. So, congrats. And, I mean, luckily they stepped up because your normally reliable wide receivers underwhelmed with Keenan, Galladay, and Williams all combining for 20 points only. Luckily, Trey Burton had his best game of the season behind like a 39-yard touchdown reception. How do you feel about that? Are you happy about your running backs?
Happy with my running backs. I'm feeling okay actually. I think I like my team so far.
That's good. It's nice. I like it. A lot of receivers. I was reading or hearing somewhere because I can't read when I'm at work, so I hear it. Over 40 wide receivers have like averaging more than 10 points a game, like fantasy.
Damn.
So it's like that's a lot of points going to wide receivers. And TJ and I were talking about it off mic earlier.
Yeah.
The new rules with you can't touch a quarterback. Pretty much, you can't hit him, or like they're gonna call everything on you, and you can't hit anybody anymore. Like these quarterbacks are just able to throw the ball so much, and it's really like upping the scoring, which is what the NFL wants because it means they make money because that's all people care about is touchdowns and points. And like it's
I think
hard.
I heard this stat somewhere where like there was more touchdowns in the first 3 games than there has been in any year since I think like 2007 or something.
When Tom Brady threw for like 80 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's like nut.
That's insane. Oh man, yeah, I believe that. No. Well, there we go. Are we back?
I think we're back. We're back.
Okay, sorry guys. Technical difficulties. I wasn't moving the mouse, and Discord put me to AFK. But we're back. Sorry about that. I'm not pausing the recording. We're just gonna power through, guys.
All natural.
Yeah, this is just who we are. Love me for my truth. As for Peter, he had a chance to steal this one away on Monday Night Football. He was down around 30 points, and he had Emmanuel Sanders and Sammy Watkins playing it. What could have been a barn burner because you never know with Case Keenum and Pat Mahomes. And unfortunately, Sanders fell short, and Watkins got injured, just like like he normally does. His 2 Oakland Raiders were actually his best players, Marshawn and Jordy, scoring 17 and 15 apiece. Who would have thought that offense would have shown some life? I didn't trust them, but good for them. I'm actually happy for both those players because they're just people that you can root for. They're like fun to play, fun to watch. Yeah. Other than the 21 points by Phillip Rivers, Peter didn't really get anything from anyone else, not even his bench, except for Corey Davis. But you can't even blame him for that. I wouldn't have started Corey Davis against the Eagles with an injured Mariota. But I guess the Eagles are giving up like the most points to wide receivers like this year so far. Something like I remember hearing that, like they said their defense is totally like overrated right now defending the pass.
It's kind of like that with a lot of defenses, except maybe the Jags. But even the Jags haven't been as good as
you would hope.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out. They lost Rodney McLeod, who's a really good safety for them. So we'll see how they go through that. Up next, we have Pocket Dogs, who's 3-1, at Tasha Rain, 3-1, with a score of 124 to 138. And down goes Jordan. It wasn't due to a lack of effort. He obviously scored 124 points, but he lost to the. When I wrote this, he was the second highest score at 138, but he ended up being like the third highest score, or fourth highest score. Carlos Hyde came down to earth with a 13-point game, and unfortunately for Hyde, Nick Chubb had a nice game with two nice touchdowns.
He had 3 carries, guys.
Yeah, but he took one for 40 and one for 39 and the touchdowns. So he had a nice game.
3 carries.
He's nice. He might lose carries. Mike Evans also had a disappointing game, and with the loss of Fitzmagic and the resurrection of Winston, we'll see how that works out. I think Mike Evans will still be fine. I think it was just a bad game for that team. Winston isn't that good, but he only has to be good enough. I think he's good for fantasy because he'll throw for yards and touchdowns, but he's not good in real life because he doesn't win games. So, yeah. For Jordan, luckily Gurley and Diggs were the only ones to come to work, and they slightly outplayed their projections, but you have to be happy about Andrew Luck. While Cousins almost doubled his 18.5 projection, Luck did double his 18-point projection with 36 points, and that's not bad for someone who's only been playing football for a couple of months.
Yeah, he threw 62 times, so he's healthy.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be fine. He might be a little sore, but
yeah, he's healthy.
Yeah. For the champ, he ties up his record with Jordan with a nice win. I don't know how he constantly gets points with such a ragtag group of guys, but he just does. Matt Ryan, this is Reggie nominated him for the play of the week for playing Matt Ryan over Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers versus the Bills. Even though he's one-legged, like TJ said, I take a one-armed Aaron Rodgers over a three-armed Matt Ryan. I just think he's infinitely better in every aspect in life. But Matt Ryan has better weapons, obviously, like Julio Jones, and Calvin Ridley is changing that game for him.
Smith looked really good too.
Yep.
Yeah, man, he has weapons for days.
He does, and the only problem with that offense is Sarkisian is their offensive coordinator, and he's not that smart. Trust me, I'm a Trojans fan. Even Devontae Adams, Deshaun Jackson, Zach Ertz played decently. They all had about 12 to 16 points, or in that range. And those are actually I feel like his high ceiling players. And especially with Adams, just a touchdown machine. D-Jax, he has those 30-point games, and Ertz is actually pretty a safe player, but it was his it was I guess his high ceiling player is giving him a decent safe game. Kenyon Drake dookied in his pants.
Oh man, Kenyon Drake.
He's not that good. I don't know, man. Jason seems to like him, but I don't like him.
I don't like him either.
I'm glad you didn't trade him to me, Corey.
Me too.
This time, he dookied in his pants, and this time he brought the whole Dolphins with him. Fortunately, though, for Corey, James White and Golden Tate both went off, and these are his actual high floor players, low ceiling, because they just catch passes. They don't really do much, but they both had 27 and 30 points respectively, 8 receptions each, over 110 yards, 30 yards or whatever, and a couple touchdowns. He just knows when to play, guys. So good for you, Corey, you asshole. Up next, that was a nice win against Jordan, I think. Yeah,
man, that was vintage Corey right there.
That's how we beat McCall in the finals. Up next, we have Fried Spam and Eggs at the League of Shadows with a score of 81.3 to 143.34. So when I wrote this up last night, I was setting everything up. Angel was up by exactly 1 point. It was 81.3 to 80.3. And Reggie had 3 players left. And what happened next will shock you. Reggie scored a lot. Not like the Joshes, because both the Joshes had the highest scores, but 143 would have been good enough for third. And like I said earlier, he had 80 points at the end of Sunday night, and he had Mahomes, Hunt, and Lindsey playing, and they combined for 63 points. Pat Mahomes, man, he was having a mediocre game, and then he just drives the Chiefs down and gives them the win. This guy's insane.
Those last 2 drives were fucking beautiful, man.
I saw that. I finally saw that play where he ran away from Von Miller, then left-handed pass for a first down. Like, who does
Dude,
that, dude?
it was two beautiful drives to get them the win.
Yeah. Good for him. He is a sight. Alvin Kamara, he's insane. I remember hearing a podcast. One of these, like, I just listen to a lot of them, guys, for fantasy football, and I guess he has the best 4-game start in fantasy since like the 1950s. And I know like fantasy sports have been something since like the late 80s, early 90s, but like I guess his 4-game start, considering his yardage and his receptions and like his touchdowns, it's like the best 4-game start of like any player since a long time ago. And yeah, so did that shock you? Because Drew Brees sucked it up. Angel lost by a lot. Drew Brees sucked it up. Jay Ajayi sucked it up. Gronk sucked it up. Even like Matt Breida, he just did what I think he'll normally do because I've never been high on him. Except like I think he'll get injured more. Juju, even Juju didn't perform well against my Ravens, which thank you. None of his guys scored in double digits except Julio and Jarvis. So 2 of his 3 J's did him justice, but this wasn't enough. Even if all 3 of his J's performed, I don't think it would have been enough. Reggie is on a hot streak right now.
One hell of a team.
Yeah. Last game that we are reviewing, is Evil Doc, who's 0-4 at Hard Knocks 2-2 with a score of 103.86 to 153.8. Frank finally broke 100. Him and TJ were the first ones, or the last ones to break 100, which means that at least everybody has at least a 100-point game under their belt this year. Peter beat you guys. Excuse me. Peter beat you guys in that remark. In order to break 100, he had huge games from Sterling Shepard and Amari Cooper, both with over 20 points. Even Allen Robinson scored his first touchdown as a Bear because Mitchell Trubisky decided to throw for 6 touchdowns on like 16 passes.
First fucking half.
Yeah, 5 of them.
Oh
Unfortunately for Frank, his running backs thought they were still, doing the old game plan of not scoring points. So they combined to cross the 5-point threshold barely.
5.5.
Yeah, the bright spot though for Frank is like David Njoku with Baker Mayfield look nice, and A-Rob looks to be a little bit more comfortable with Mitch in that offense. So, bright spot, I guess. In a week where like Josh Del Mundo scored 169, Josh Shaden could have surpassed that. He scored 153 points, and that includes starting Chris Carson, who is who's not a healthy scratch, but a scratch in that Arizona game. And he had a nice, yeah, was it? Yeah, because he had like 32 touches. He had a nice game like the week before with the 19 points, and Mike Davis ended up having like a 20-point game. Oh my goodness.
I think you can fix that. We'll fix it later.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back. Or TJ's back. Yeah, so the guy who replaced Chris Carson had like 20 points. And if you put 2 and 2 together, Chris Carson maybe could have scored the 20. That means instead of 153, he would have had 173, which would have beat Josh, even though Josh lost O.J. Howard. So, who knows? Who knows? But Deshaun Watson finally had his big game, as did Ezekiel Elliott, both scoring 31. He has Brandon Cooks, John Brown, and Will Fuller, and they continue to put up like good enough numbers to always give Josh that nice floor. Like we talked about how wide receivers are just producing because you're not allowed to touch them, you're not allowed to hit them. So it's really nice for them. And having Travis Kelce score 17 points on Monday Night Football is a nice cherry on top of that. He is quietly putting together, like he's 2 and 2, but I think this is the second time he scored over 130 points this year.
I think in our power rankings last week we had him pretty close to the top. I think we had him 5th or something. Because
fifth.
He's had like.
It's because
really
his record.
Yeah.
But he was second or third or 4th most points, so he'll score a lot of points. Especially when Mixon comes back, that'll be good for him. But that's it, everybody, for the game reviews. And TJ, let's take it away.
Game previews. All right. First game up. It's Slight Work Manny against me.
Ooh, I just saw
Paper
this.
Footballs.
I just saw this.
Oh
Ooh,
boy.
this is gonna be
All
nice.
right. So how I'm gonna do the previews is I'm gonna name at least 3 players who I think will be the make or break, pretty much, or who can have a big outcome. David Johnson with Josh Rosen actually looks competent as a quarterback. So David Johnson will probably be a big beneficiary. And it showed that last game too, where he had 21 for 70 something, and they actually got him involved in the passing game too. So that'll be good. And he has a really good matchup with the 49ers this weekend.
Yep.
Fournette re-injured his hamstring, so he'll probably be out
I know.
for a couple more weeks, and that kind of hurts Manny's depth, especially with James Conner not looking so good the past couple games. But he has a really good matchup with the Falcons this week.
So high. Oh, I shouldn't have
maybe
said that. I shouldn't have said that out loud. I mean, you guys could buy low.
Wait, does that make sense?
Yes, because he's not playing well. You trade for him, or I'll sell high.
What, after he has a good big game against the Falcons?
Yeah, or buy low before the Falcons. We'll see, guys.
Yeah, whatever he has one.
I know. Just send me an offer, guys. Send me an offer. I got so many points.
Carson Wentz came back with a nice game. Carson Wentz looked good. He just looked good. I mean, franchise quarterback, probably going to be really good for the next 10, 12 years. He has a really good game against the Vikings, which wouldn't have been said at the beginning of the season because the Vikings were supposed to have a good defense. But they were burned by Goff last week. And this game will actually be able to tell if the Vikings defense is actually good or not.
That's 2 games in a row, though, right?
Yeah, the Bills
And then
and the Rams.
But they miss Everson Griffin. That hurts him.
Yeah, he's huge for that. Just like the Chargers miss Joey Bosa.
Yep. Pass rushers, man.
The Red Rifle, my team. The Red Rifle has been balling this year, and he's going to get up another defense that can be beaten in Miami. So we expect him to have a good game. My 2 rookie running backs, Sony Michel and Saquon Barkley. Sony Michel, in his first outing with that Rex Burkhead, got 25 carries. He wasn't really looked into the passing game, but that's James White's game. James White is the passing back.
Yeah, I didn't. Even if I think if Sony even looked better, even if let's say he got another 20 yards, like the same amount of carries, but an extra 20 yards, so his YPC looked better. I still don't think you take him out, or you take James White out and put Sony in for the passing, because James White has been there. Like he won't play like 8 weeks in a row, then he'll get like 8 catches in the Super Bowl, because that's who Bill Belichick and Tom Brady trust the most. You're not gonna, behind Gronk, that's his number 2 right now.
Mm-hmm. James White is just really electric. He made a really nice cut for a touchdown last week. That was he
Very
broke some
nice.
ankles, man.
He's quick.
Keenan Allen has been underperformed this year, except for his first game. But he's playing the Raiders this week, and the Raiders gave up 42 points to Baker Mayfield and the Browns.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting Allen to have a good game, but the Chargers all around to have a good game. My game prediction is Manny this week, which is hard for me to say. But Manny has the better team, but I think it might be a little closer than some people might expect.
Yeah, I agree with that. About the whole being closer than some might expect, just by looking at the rosters, especially with Fournette hurt, Connor not like playing as well, and that just like that Steeler team is just struggle city.
Yeah.
But with the Falcons, I don't know why they're only playing 4 guys on defense. So they should do they know that they're allowed to
Have
play
11 players
11?
on the field?
Did you see that? There's one quote, I guess, when somebody on the internet, somebody on like Sleeperbot or something, they saw, or I think it was Reddit, they showed a highlight of Dak Prescott throwing like a 37-yard pass to Michael Gallup, who caught it and got tackled, and then one of a Cowboy fan was like, "Is it legal to throw it that far?" Like, that offense has been so dink and dunk that they thought it was illegal. It was just funny. I don't know. Sorry, I digress, guys. I do that a lot. All right, TJ, on to your next one, man.
Next we have Josh Hard Knocks at Angel Fried Spam and Eggs. Josh, Adrian Pearson is going to come off his bye and is going against a Saints defense that is not playing like they did last year. And they're looking like they're 2016, giving up 50 points to every team. So he's going to have... I'm expecting Adrian Peterson to have a big game, but he's been really up and down this year, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 8 for 24. Will Fuller went down with a hamstring injury, but I think the coaches played it smart and kept him out of the game, even though he was cleared to go back into the game. So I think he'll be good to go next week, and his rapport with Deshaun Watson is really good. So, I mean, ever since Fuller's been back, Watson's been balling.
The games that Watson has been out, Fuller has sucked, and vice versa. The games that Fuller has been out, Watson has struggled. Like his first game of the season, like Deshaun Watson's he's a gunslinger, and a gunslinger's favorite target is a Will Fuller, Deshaun Jackson type. You need players like that.
Fuller just runs down, big body, just catch a ball.
Mm-hmm.
He also has John Brown. John Brown is having a really nice year with Joe Flacco. He's making Joe Flacco look like a really good quarterback. And that's really hard to do. Man, you can vouch for that.
I hate him.
Brown isn't getting crazy volume. He only had 3 catches last week for 116 yards and a touchdown. I think the week before that, it was almost the same. Let me look it up for you guys. Sorry, I don't have that pulled up for you, but
yeah, he was always known as a deep threat specialist.
Yeah, he's a deep threat guy. Yeah, last week he only had 5 catches for 86 yards, 4 catches for 92 yards, but he's getting a lot of targets.
In the red zone too is what I've been seeing. And Chris Harris, another podcast I listen to, he has this Antonio Brown phylum, which is players that are small like Antonio Brown, but they're super skilled. So OBJ would fall into that. Antonio Callaway, Tyler Lockett, a lot of these players that you can see them as very quick, very fast, and they could be PPR monsters, and they have very good hands and route running, but sometimes they just can't put it all together. And John Brown was one of the guys that he thought would have been in that phylum, but was always injured because of his the sickle cell trait, unfortunately. And he was a favorite of Bruce Arians. He was supposed to be the number 2 behind Fitz, but he just kept getting hurt. Mm-hmm. And now he has a quarterback. Joe Flacco is a discount Carson Palmer and throws it deep.
He likes to throw it deep. That's what he does. So once he got John Brown, he's starting to look good again.
Yeah.
Or he's starting to look good.
Good enough. I hate you, Joe.
On to Angels team. Drew Brees is going to go for history on Monday night. He only needs 201 more pass yards to pass Peyton Manning to be the all-time passing leader. And I think he goes off. I think he has 300 plus yards with a couple touchdowns this game. So I think he's going to have a good game on his record-breaking night.
On Monday night, too.
Yep. Angel has some glaring issues at running back. He has J.J. Matt Breida, who are underperformed this year, but I think with J.J. playing with another week with Wentz, I think they'll get it together. And Deion Lewis is always a nice PPR player, especially with Mariota back. Mariota being back is big for Deion Lewis, because when they had Blaine Gabbert, they weren't scared of anybody else, to be honest. But with Mario back, Deion Lewis will get his play. Gronk is injured. We expect him to play on Thursday night, but I wouldn't be surprised if they held him out. So that's something to keep an eye on this week for Angel. And if he doesn't play, it's going to be a big blow to Angel's team.
There's not a lot of tight ends out there anymore. Does he have a backup tight end on his?
Yeah, he has Jesse James.
Oh, not Vance McDonald?
No, I have Vance.
Oh. Well, you both suck anyways.
Yeah. My prediction for this week, Josh S takes this pretty easily, I think. I don't know what to say. Josh has a really good team, and I think Angel probably gets blown out this week.
What do you think Angel's doing right now as he hears you saying? Does he feel like is he reaching for like the knife that you stuck in his back and trying to pull it out? Is he like, God damn it, TJ?
Yeah. If his team proves me wrong and somehow JJ goes for like 30 points this week, then more power to you.
He's got to play 30 snaps first.
True. And not get injured.
Yeah.
Alright, on to the next game preview. We have Pocket Dogs Jordan at League of Shadows Reggie. Let's see. Alright. Andrew Luck finally had himself a game. He had to throw it 60 times, but that just shows that he's healthy. And he's going to need to throw it a lot this weekend, playing the Patriots. Both off defenses are starting off pretty slow, so I expect a barn burner. I mean, he doesn't have T.Y. Hilton, but even with T.Y. Hilton out for a couple plays last week, he still played really well. Mike Evans on bye is going to hurt Jordan because he doesn't really have that much wide receiver depth. He has Diggs, and then after that he has Stills, Crabtree, Meredith. Those aren't really names you would put out there as your wide receiver 2. So I think Stills is comparable wide receiver 3/flex, so I'm pretty sure that's who's he's going to play. Especially going against Cincinnati, that'll probably be another barn burner too. Carlos Hyde had another good game, but he might be stuck in a committee with how Chubb played on his 3 carries for over 100 yards. I still think Hyde will be the lead back, but I think Chubb, with the way he played last week, is going to take some of those carries away.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Duke Johnson, they drafted Chubb in the 3rd round, and they gave Hyde all this money, and they have Jarvis Landry. Like, those 3 players make Duke Johnson, who's been proven to be a very dynamic player with the ball, he just becomes a nobody, unfortunately.
They just left him for dead.
Yeah.
A good player on the bench.
Yeah.
Kind of hurts, but yeah.
Soak it up.
Next up, we have Reg. Reg has been riding the Chiefs hype train with Mahomes and Kareem Hunt. But they're playing against probably the second best defense in the league with the Jags. Mahomes played really well against the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos have a really good defense too. But he did stink it up for a little more than a half.
Yeah.
And I think the Jags are a better defense. But I think they'll be okay. Mahomes, Andy Reid will find ways to get Mahomes and Hunt the ball because they need him. They need them to win, especially with Blake Bortles playing the way he is the past week.
Yeah. They were saying the problem with Hunt is that Mahomes doesn't check down or dump off to the running back. And Alex Smith did that a lot. That's why Hunt had better catching numbers with Alex Smith. But the problem with Mahomes is the problem for Hunt from Mahomes is that Mahomes is a lot more agile, and his dump off passes to Hunt are actually 60-yard bombs to Tyreek Hill. So I don't think Mahomes really knows what dump off pass means.
I don't think he does.
He just keeps running till he sees someone at the back of the end zone, and he just rifles it in there. So
His
that's
version of a dump off pass was his left-handed pass to Tyreek Hill that went 10
oh
yards.
my god, that is so stupid. Anybody else, if that pass was dropped or like bobbled by a defender, he would have been benched. Like you don't do something like that. But Pat Mahomes, has anybody seen him or Jesus in the same room? Is he the second coming of Jesus? Oh my god. We have to go to Kansas City to be saved.
Dude, he can ball, man. He
Yeah.
like really good.
He is awesome.
And for Reg, T.Y. Hilton went down with a shoulder and hamstring injury, and he looks like he's going to be out for the Thursday night game. And that kind of hurts Reg because he doesn't really have that many receivers that can play. Geronimo Allison has a concussion, so we don't know if he's playing. So the last two receivers he has on his team is Chris Hogan, who is sucking it up, and Antonio Callaway, who is he's good. It's just will Baker Mayfield be able to get him the ball? But he's really
Yes.
hurting at receivers. But it's Reggie. We know he's gonna make a move here or there to get somebody. So I expect them to have different receivers by game time. Aaron Jones has a great matchup against the Lions this week, and he's the best runner in the backfield. We all saw that this weekend when he went for, I think it was like a 30-yard run or something, and then he ran it in for the touchdown. I don't know. He's the best running back in the backfield, and Aaron Rodgers wants him out there more. It's just he can't pass block as well as what's his face? I don't even know his name
Jamal
anymore.
Williams?
Jamal Williams.
Or
Yeah.
or Montgomery. That was one of the things that Montgomery had last year, and why he was like, "Oh, we'll start Montgomery at running back, even though we have these two actual running backs," is because he was the best pass blocker. And then I guess they realized that Jamal Williams probably got better, but right now you need to keep Aaron Rodgers upright. So I completely
Yeah.
agree with that. But it's at some point you want to know how you can keep Aaron Rodgers upright. You hand off to Aaron Jones, and you let him Aaron Jones just rip off a 12-yarder because he's skilled, man. It's just you never know with McCarthy, dude, because Eddie Lacy would just work dudes, and then here comes James Stark.
Oh,
Reggie,
God.
how come you haven't asked James Starks to go away? Is he still there? I think he's still there, right? Number 44, he's still there, getting like a 18-yard run out of nowhere, and you're like, come on, that should have been Eddie Lacy's. Where's Cheeseburger Eddie's spin move?
Yeah, the way to keep Rodgers up is make them be scared to pass rush. I mean, to pass rush.
At
So
least
you
like
give
hesitate a
them,
little bit, yeah.
like a draw, even a screen pass.
Mm-hmm.
He dumps it off. I mean, I don't know, man. But yeah, my game prediction for this one is Jordan. I think this was one of the harder games for me to call.
Yeah, this is a toss-up, bro.
Yeah,
I think
it's,
it's Gurley versus fucking Kamara.
it can go either way.
Yeah.
Because they're both a little short on receivers, but I do think Jordan has the better receivers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just which ones will show up, to be honest. Gurley
Yeah.
or Kamara.
Yeah, because you don't, especially like if Hilton stays out and Allison stay out because of injury, but because Gurley's only been getting like what 20-point games. Yeah, it's like 22, 30, 22, 23. Okay, but what has Kamara been doing? 38, then a 39.
games,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
having 40-point games. So but he also has a 15-point game. So you never know. There's a lot of
I forgot
variance.
to mention this because I was going to mention this later, but Mark Ingram is coming back, and we don't know how that's going to eat into Kamara's value, but I still think Kamara breaks off like 28, 35-point games.
Oh yeah, because he's a amazing pass catcher.
Yeah.
But I think the Saints, as a overall, will just be able to hold on to the ball better because they'll be just rushing it more and killing the clock. So we'll see how that works out. That's a toss up for me as well, bro.
Yeah, It was hard for me to call, and I'm saying Jordan with like.
Why don't you like
I'm
Reggie?
wary.
Why don't you like Reggie?
I told you why don't I agree you.
Oh, that's fucked up. Fuck him up, Reg.
All right, on to the next game. Motorboy and Son Bitches, Fred and Bale married Josh Del Mundo. All right, yeah, this is where I was gonna mention Mark Ingram. He's coming off suspension, and it could not have come at a better time for Fred. Derrick Henry sucks. Blount is okay, I guess, and Jordan Howard is on bye, but would that have mattered anyways? And not to mention, he still doesn't have Le'Veon Bell. So, Mark Ingram is his number one back, and he just came off suspension, which sucks. And we still don't know how he's going to be used when he does come back. But I think he'll be a nice low-end RB2
I honestly
for
didn't
the rest
even.
of the year.
Sorry, interrupt.
No, that's fine.
I didn't even know that Jordan Howard was on bye the week that Mark Ingram came back. Because when Jordan Howard comes back week 6, Mark Ingram is on bye. So it's not until week 7 when Le'Veon's on bye, when he supposedly returns, that he'll actually have 2 real running backs.
Yeah, it's a hard time for Fred right now.
That's-
the running back
yeah.
position.
I mean, it's not as hard as like Angel, because at least Fred has.
that's true.
But yeah, that's crazy. And like for you talk about like Henry sucks and Blount is okay. They're the same player. They're just big dudes that I don't know. They're just
I think Blount is better than Henry because Henry tries to do shit with the ball that he shouldn't be trying.
Blount did the same thing. You don't remember him hurdling people when he was on the was he on the Red? No, not the Redskins, the Bucks. And he would just run, and then he would just hurdle people. You're like, he's 6'3", 260 pounds. Why is he hurdling people?
But Blount learned. He learned.
No,
that
he didn't.
He kind of did.
Yeah, I guess. But then like Henry, Blount, Jordan Howard, they're all like the same player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially if you listen to Chris Harris, to him, they're all hippo on roller skates. They're just big boys that know how to go in a straight line. Jordan Howard is the most skilled out of all of them, and Henry I think has the best long speed, but he needs about 15 yards to get up to speed. If he doesn't get that, he's not going anywhere. But you have a lot of the same player, Fred. You should just trade me Mark Ingram.
For James Conner.
Oh, I would. I'll probably do that. I don't know, Fred. We'll talk.
That's a good trade because you have Le'Veon Bell too. So.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. He has Kirk Cousins, who had a nice 35-point game against the Rams defense.
Mhm.
The Rams defense was a little injured, but he's going against a Philly defense that is supposed to be pretty good. But I don't know. I think Cousins will put up good numbers against Philly too.
Yeah.
So
With McLeod injured, I think. I don't know. Cousins, he played like a near perfect game last week against the Rams. Yeah. It's just that Jared Goff played a more perfect game.
Because he's King Goffrey.
It's true.
And Fred lost Tyler Eifert again. He broke his ankle. That's after the season. He needs to have surgery. He was having a good year with Dawson, and if he stayed healthy, I think Eifert would have been a really good tight end one, because the tight ends this year are shit. But Fred does have, Ben Watson on the bench. I guess Watson is usable now since all the tight ends have gone down. And he does have Breeze as his QB, so that will help. He just needs one touchdown, and he'll be relevant.
Yeah, that's
For
all it takes.
Josh's team, he has King Goffrey. And he is on fire. It's his second year under Sean McVay, and he has another great matchup against Seahawks, who just lost Earl Thomas for the year. I mean, over under 4 touchdowns for Goff this week. I'm gonna take the over. I think he gets 5.
Oh man, without Earl Thomas.
What that? Oh man, they're
But
gonna get
no,
burned this week.
they still have Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman, right?
Oh wait,
No.
I think No.
Is Bobby Wagner still injured? Is KJ Wright playing yet? Who? They still have Sheldon Richardson or Michael Bennett or Cliff Averill?
No. None
No,
of them.
None.
No. Nope.
Oh man, is that defense? They still have Russell Wilson. Can he play defense?
I think no, they can't do that either.
Oh man,
Maybe Tyler Lockett.
fuck.
He's getting paid enough.
He's getting paid now. He's playing like it though, so that's good for him. But man,
Yeah.
Goff is ready to eat.
Yeah.
If you guys are like looking for like another podcast to help out with like football knowledge or something, or just like learning stuff, or just you like football, listen to the Ringer podcast because they talked about Sean McVay and how this guy is a complete like offensive genius. Like he's not coming up with plays. He's coming up with schemes that attack the defense. Like he knows exactly how Mike Zimmer's defense works, and he knows that's why like everybody picked on Anthony Barr, and he had everybody in motion. If he saw Anthony Barr like on Woods, he's like, I'm passing it to Woods, I'm passing it to
Cup.
Gurley, to Cup, all of them on
Yeah.
Anthony Barr.
Burned like 3 times that
Yeah,
game.
like he picked on him, and he knew exactly what Anthony Barr's responsibility was, and he made sure that's where the ball was going because whoever he put on Anthony Barr was faster than Barr. Like that, he's one of those like savant. He's a football
Yeah.
savant,
McVay is probably gonna go down as one of the best coaches ever.
and he'll steal
I
your
think.
girl. He'll steal your girl.
Alex Collins has a terrible fumbling problem,
Mhm.
and he's a good runner. I think he's a really good runner. It's just he needs to hold on to the ball. He's kind of like Tiki Barber. Tiki Barber was a really good running back. He had problems holding the ball. He got over them.
Mhm.
So maybe Alex Collins do the same. But right now, John Harbaugh, I think he said something that we can't have that.
Mm-mm.
So
Nope.
if Collins fumbles again, I wouldn't be surprised if he loses a lot of his touches to Buck Allen.
Well, that's why Buck Allen is still there.
Yeah,
Reggie.
If it wasn't for
Go away, Buck Allen. Nah, he's like, if I go away, I'm keeping the ball with me. If you, because Alex Collins will just fumble it. Like, it's sad.
yeah. Josh has Giovanni Bernard, who had a good game from last week, but Joe Mixon is expected to be back this week, and I think Bernard will be irrelevant going forward. But Josh does have some nice flex options, and I think Eckler would be a really nice match, really nice play this week against Oakland. And Marvin Jones is always consistent, so I mean, he'll get you like 4 catches for 50 yards every game. I think he's done that past 4 games. He ain't got a touchdown this week, but he'll probably get you a touchdown next week. I think my prediction for this week is Josh. 2 good rosters, but I think Josh has one of the best rosters in our league.
Yeah, I agree with that. Plus, he's 4-0, and he's one of the leading scorers.
Mhm.
So you with Ingram's back, but Jordan, like one of Fred's best players, is on bye. It's just hard to, it's hard to vote
Just
for him.
overcome that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough running back depth to like
Oh, but he has Derrick
be
Henry.
able to. No.
What? I don't know. But yeah.
Okay. And next game, the battle of the 0-4 teams. One of them is gonna get a win this week.
This is actually the only reason why Josh wanted you to win this week, TJ, was because he wanted to see Frank against his cousin Peter and both of them be 0-4. That's the only reason. He's like, I hope TJ wins. I'm like, why? He's like, I just want Peter to be 0-4 so he plays Frank 0-4. I'm like, you're so petty, but I like it.
That sucks. Alright, yeah, that sucks. What an asshole. Alright, yep, it's Frank Evil Dog against Petey Lovegun. Frank has Big Ben and Brady, and they both have really nice matchups against terrible defenses this week. It's gonna be a hard choice this week. Personally, I would go with Big Ben just because he's playing with Falcons. I know it's
Yep.
Tom Brady, but he's on a short week, playing on Thursday night.
Might not have
And he has-
Gronk.
Yeah, he might not have Gronk. He hasn't been good. He hasn't been Brady this year, and Big Ben has to be thrown a lot, especially against the Falcons. The Falcons have a really good offense. The Steelers have a terrible defense. So I expect, I expect the score to be over 65.5 combined. Frank's running backs. I wanted to avoid talking about his running backs, but it's kind of hard to avoid talking about his running backs if we want to talk about his team. He doesn't really have any running backs that are good. His best one, Peyton Barber, is going on bye. And Peyton Barber isn't all that good. So
Isaiah Crowell's still there.
Isaiah Crowell and Theo Riddick. Riddick is the pass catching back in Detroit, but Kerryon Johnson has emerged to be one of the best running back in that backfield, and I think that makes Theo Riddick irrelevant. Isaiah Crowell is playing with a rookie quarterback, and it's kind of hard to get any play, especially with Bilal Powell being there.
Yeah, it's true.
And they're playing at the Denver defense, who's really good. I mean, they did just give up 100-something yards to Kareem Hunt, but it's Kareem Hunt and a Chiefs offense.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt led the league in rushing last year, so
yeah,
he's actually a pretty good running back.
Mm-hmm. Frank also has Amari Cooper, who you never know if he'll have a really good game or a game with 1 catch and 10 yards.
Well, that's why you got to listen to the Jason Moore strategy when it comes to Amari Cooper. When you think he's going to do bad, that's when you start him because that's when he does good. And when you think he should be played, that's when you sit him because that's when he...
Or you trick him. You think you're going to bench him the whole time, and then last minute you throw him into your lineup.
Yeah.
Bam. Tricked him.
He said Amari Cooper looks at his starting percentages right before game time, so he knows whether he should play well or not.
Oh, man. He does have some really nice receivers, though. Even though Robinson's going to bye, he has Josh Gordon, who's probably going to get more acclimated into
Patriots
the New England offense.
Yeah.
And Larry Fitzgerald, who's getting Josh Rosen, who's better. He did have some terrible drops this week. He had 3 drops, but that's not Larry Fitzgerald. That's not the norm for Larry Fitzgerald. And he's getting the San Francisco 49ers this week, so I think he'll have a good game as well. For Petey, Dalvin Cook is still not 100% and will most likely be the pitch count for the next couple games. Dalvin Cook's his best running back. It's just he's injured right now. I think they probably rushed him after his ACL injury. They probably should have kept him out a couple weeks. That's my personal opinion, and I think a lot of analysts were saying that they should have kept him out a couple weeks to heal.
Yeah, I think they're excited to get him back, is what it is.
But he does have some nice running back depth. He has LaShawn McCoy, who still has some cracked ribs, but he's really good. I mean, and he has Josh Allen, a better quarterback. So that offense should be a lot better. And then he has Doug Baldwin back this week. He got him back last week, but that was his first game back from an injury.
And he only played a quarter or two, a half.
He didn't play much.
So he's a little rusty.
Yeah, he might need another week, so he probably won't be as featured this week again. But even he said he's not fully 100%. He's not going to be 100% for the season.
Yeah, he said that he hasn't been 100% since he was born, so you can't even take him at that because apparently he's crazy.
But he did have a breakout for Corey Davis this week.
Brought it up earlier.
He got a shit ton of targets from Mariota, and I think he's going to get all the targets. There is no Delaney Walker. Rashard Matthews is gone. The only person competing with targets is probably Deion Lewis. And I think Corey Davis is going to have a really good year now, especially with Mariota being back. Mariota needs to stay healthy for Corey Davis to have a good year.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, Tajay Sharp is around, and so Jonnu Smith is supposed to be good.
Taywan Taylor, I think.
Taywan Taylor also. But then I think Corey Davis is just infinitely more talented than all those guys, other than maybe Dion Lewis, because Dion Lewis is a game changer, but he gets different targets than Corey Davis.
Yeah, I think he had like 15 targets, which is nuts.
That's nice. That's like Julio Jones status.
Yep. And I get to choose the first win goes to Petey. I think Petey gets his first win this week. And I think he has a sneaky good team.
Suck it, Frank.
If Cook can get healthy, I think Petey has a really nice team, especially with his run backs. Marshawn Lynch is really good. LaShawn McCoy. I mean, Frank Gore, the ever so young Frank Gore.
Young Frank Gore.
And our last preview of the week, it's Tasha and Corey against Vitamin D Mikhail. For Corey, man, he has Kenyon Drake on his lineup, and he has just been one of the most disappointing players of the season. But he does have a really good matchup against Bengals this week. So, I mean, this would probably be the last week for me. If he doesn't have a good matchup this week, he probably stays on my bench, or you try to trade him. But I don't even know what you can trade him for at that point. He has James White, who is going to have a really big year on that New England offense, especially with Burkhead being out. His ceiling is really, really high. He can run really well. He can catch really well. He'll do everything for that offense. Matt Ryan has another good matchup against the Steelers, but as does Rodgers against the Lions. He chose right last week, and he knows how to choose players, so I'm not going to tell him who to pick, but I'd pick Ryan, just because he's going against the Steelers. For Mikhail, Kerryon Johnson is starting to emerge as the featured back in the Lions backfield.
Mm-hmm.
He is the best running back in that backfield. They just need to give him more touches. They're probably not going to do that just because he is a rookie, and Garrett Blount is still there, unfortunately. This is where I do agree with Reg that they do need to get rid of LeGarrette Blount.
He needs to go away.
Yeah, he needs to go away. And give Kerryon Johnson more touches, because I think he's electrifying. He made a move this week where he just... Oh, man. Kerryon Johnson is nice. It was like a Madden freaking hit stick. Or not hit stick. What is it called? I forgot.
The juke stick?
The juke stick or something? Yeah, he made a nice spin move. It was nice.
Oh, a spin move stick.
And then Calvin Ridley. He has 6 touchdowns in 3 games yet. That doubled all of Julio Jones's last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect him to get 6 touchdowns in 3 weeks all the time, but he's playing against the Steelers this week, and I expect Matt Ryan to throw a lot. They need to score, and it seems like Calvin Ridley is a guy, the recipient of all those scores. So I think Calvin Ridley gets another touchdown this week, maybe more. And McCall's getting CMC back off his bye. CMC is really good. He's really solid. He's going against the New York Giants this week. The New York Giants are pretty beatable, I think.
To say the least.
To say the least. I think they score pretty easily on them, and I think McCaffrey gets his first touchdown of the year this week. Mikhail does have a lot of good players. I mean, he's starting Tevin Coleman, Kerryon Johnson as his backfield, but he does have Christian McCaffrey, so he has to bench one of those. And I think Devontae Freeman might come back, so he has to make some roster decisions.
Yeah.
And for my game prediction, I choose Mikhail. This was another hard one for me to choose. Probably the hardest one, actually. I just think this one's really close. Both teams are really good. I just don't know which players will show up.
I agree. I think it is going to be Mikhail. It's not as close as you think it is. For me, I think his players, he has higher ceilings, and I think they have higher floors. And I think they're just at a different level than some of Corey's players. But what do I know? Because Corey's players have been playing. They've been out like just outperforming their projections. So even though they say James White will get 10 points, he has 27 points. It's like, okay, well, yeah, that sucks.
Oh, and one more thing for Corey. He is getting Edelman back this week.
Hmm.
So is it this week or is it?
It's this week.
It's
That's
this week,
true.
right? Yeah, it's this week.
So that means
So,
Edelman and James White will eat into each other's points.
Yeah.
Aw.
I don't know actually. Edelman might. That's true. But if Gronk doesn't play, that'll help Edelman and James.
True.
Well, that's still we're still don't know. I still think Mikhail wins.
I
And
agree.
that is it for game previews.
All right, everybody. Then, oh, eh, we said
Hey.
everything would be faster and it would be,
It went pretty long, huh?
yeah, an hour and 10 minutes. We talk way too much, but sorry, guys. Well, if you have nothing better to do, then you've just listened to our sweet, sweet voices talk shit about you guys for an hour and 10 minutes. That's all we have for this week. Don't forget, set your rosters. It's just generic commissioner talk. Set your rosters. I'll double check when the trade deadline is. I'm not exactly sure, but if you need to make any moves, like make sure you start getting those in.
Use your fab.
Use your fab. Use
Don't
that.
be afraid to use your fab, guys.
Yeah, I think.
Just don't be Josh.
I was
guys,
say
that have
someone
0.
someone did that. Someone was not afraid.
Key points. Balls deep, guys.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay, so it is October 2nd as of this recording, and November 27th, a Tuesday at 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is the trading deadline. So we still have some time, but
Yeah.
just be proactive, guys. All right, that's it for this week's podcast. Sorry it went long. Well, I guess we'll try to look into where we can trim things. I think 45 minutes is a sweet spot.
Yeah, we'll try to get it there. I think the previews went a little long. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, well, I think it was about half and half, bro. We go into digressions. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
There were more injuries this week too, so
There were a lot more injuries. Yeah, had a little I talk too much, but it's fine. You guys will just take it. Take it. You guys are losers, and
Yeah,
I'm winning
listen
because
to us in the
I
car.
am the best. Yeah, listen to us in the car, or Reggie. I know you're at work, so I know you're.
If you guys have time at work.
But yeah, that's it from us, guys. Good luck this week, and we're out.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Watch where you're going, needle dick.